So in our previous session, we discussed about Cartesian join, self join, and the interview questions. In this session, we are going to discuss the answer for these questions. Before that, there is a note. Inside every join, we have inner join, no matter if it is right, left, or full join. Now let's start with the first question, where we have T1, T2. Both tables are having only ID attribute and both the tables are having same value. So if we are using inner join, the calculation will be 4 into 2, 8. 4 times we can see 1 in T1 table, 2 times we can see 1 in T2 table. So 4 into 2, 8 times we are supposed to see 1 as an output for both T1 and T2 table. Now let's move to left join. There is no mismatch value in T1. Whatever there in T1, the same value is there in T2. So for left join also, we will have the same inner join output. Similarly, when we are going to right join, there is no mismatch value in T2 table. Whatever there in T1, the same value are there in T2 also. So here also the output will be same as inner join. Now move to full join. When there is no left or right join specific, in that case, the inner join value will be seen in the full join. So here is the answer of our first questions, where inner join, left join, right join, full join, all are having same output because the value between two tables are same. In question 2, we can see two tables, T1 and T2, both the tables are having single attribute ID. In this time, we can see mismatch values between two tables along with 0 and null. Before we start the validation, we need to know, like, we can consider 0 in joins, but we cannot consider null in joins because each time null is having different values. Now move to inner join output. As we know, if there are matching records between T1 and T2, only those records we can see in the inner join output. So we have 1 and 4. Both the tables are having 1 and 4, only once. So we can see 1 and 4 once in the output. We can see 0 in T1 twice, 0 in T2 once. So 2 into 1, twice we can see 0 in the output. Now the inner join part is done. Move to left join. In left join output, we can see inner join output also. Other than that, the mismatch rows in left table, which is T1 table, those values also we can say in the left join. So as we know, 1, 4, 0 are the matching rows between T1 and T2. We have 2, 3 null, the mismatch records in T1, and for those mismatch records we do not have any matching value in T2, so we can see null. Before that, another thing to remember, like in the output, we have the first ID belongs to T1 table, the second ID belongs to T2 table. Now let's move to right join. We can see the inner join output in right join. Other than that, the mismatch records in T2 table we can also see in the output, and of course we will not be having any matching value for those mismatch records, so we will see null value against the T2 mismatch records. Again, I am telling, in the output, the first ID column belongs to T1 table and the second ID column belongs to T2 table. Now moves to full join, where we can see inner join output, along with that the mismatch rows from T1, which is 2, 3 and null. And if you see, we are having null value against 2, 3 and null in the output of full join, and the mismatch rows of T2, which is 5 and 7, of course 2 times null. And if we can see, we have null value for those T2 mismatch values. If you see 5, 7, null, null. So this is how the result is for question 2. In question 3, we can see two tables, T1, T2. Both the tables are having single attribute address. Here we can see mismatch value and blank boxes. So just to make a note, in joins we can consider blank boxes or space. So now let's move to the inner join part. If you see, T1 is having ABC, T2 is also having ABC. So only once we can see ABC in both the tables. So even in the output also we can see once ABC. Now move to the blank box. T1 we can see only once blank box. T2 we can see twice the blank boxes. So 2 into 1, 2 times we can see the blank boxes in the inner join output. Now let's move to the left join. We can see the inner join output. Other than that, the mismatch value, which is DEF in the T1 table, we can also see in the left join output. And of course, for DEF, there won't be any matching value in T2. So in the address column belongs to T2, we will see null against DEF. We also have a null value in T1, and for that value in address column belongs to T2, we will find a null value. We will see a null value. Now move to right join. It is also same thing. We will see the output of inner join. Other than that, the mismatch rows in the T2 table, which is nothing but null, that we can see in the right join output. And of course, in the address column belongs to T1, we can see null only against this null value. Now move to the full join. We can see the output of inner join. Other than that, the mismatch rows of T1 and T2. So T1 is having DEF. For that, if we can see, we are having null value. And T2 is having two nulls, which is mentioned at the last. And for both those two nulls, even in the address column belongs to T1, we are having null value. So this is how the join works for the blank space and nulls.